the family of Ron Goldman has hired a new lawyer to pursue its wrongful death suit against O.J. Simpson. Fred Goldman called a news conference today to introduce his new attorney, Daniel Petrocelli. The lawyer says he's confident the Goldmans will win this lawsuit.
Very much related story involving O.J. Simpson. A legal setback today for Simpson and the wrongful death lawsuit filed against him. Late today, a Santa Monica judge ruled that an attorney for Ron Goldman's family can continue in the case, clearing the way for Simpson's deposition to get underway soon.
Told to turn over financial documents, gloves, knives, and other items demanded by the family suing him in the civil case. Simpson's side argued the order is too broad. The other side said no, it's very.
And in the civil lawsuit against O.J. Simpson, attorneys are battling it out over the evidence. This just one day after shocking testimony that Dominique Brown sold semi-nude photographs of her sister, Nicole. Aidan Pickering has the very latest on the case.
As the Simpson civil case heads to trial, both sides are locked in an increasingly contentious battle over discovery or evidence exchanged prior to the case being tried.
Related story, O.J. Simpson's financial records will not be made public. The judge in Simpson's civil trial ordered all financial records belonging to Simpson be kept secret. Attorneys for both sides did agree, however, to share the financial documents, but neither side will be allowed to release that information to the public. Judge Alan Haber said there was good cause.
O.J. Simpson's scheduled deposition suffered a delay, but it's not enough to kill the civil suit against him. Apparently, Simpson and one of his opponent's attorneys a link to the Honey Baked Hams company. Eyewitness News reporter Jeff Michael joining us live from the Channel 7 newsroom to explain. Jeff.
Harold, it's an interesting one. When the family of murder victim Ron Goldman went out shopping for an attorney, they hired one of the city's largest law firms, 150 lawyers or more. Well, one of those lawyers, not specifically the Goldman's attorney, did some work for a company or a partnership that owns some Honey Baked Ham stores. Simpson has a financial interest in that company. So today, Simpson's lawyers argued, any way you slice it, that is conflict of interest.
He's spent his career running for points, and now when it counts, he's running for cover, and this is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
How about being a man, do your deposition, get up in court, and testify instead of being a coward?
The Goldmans were not surprised that the deposition of O.J. Simpson was delayed, but they say they were astonished over how little it took to win the stall. Earlier in court, Simpson lawyer Robert Baker told the judge that the lawyer representing the Goldmans should not be allowed to question Simpson if there is a conflict.
I think it would be malpractice to produce Mr. Simpson before there's a resolution of the issue of the disqualification.
But attorney Dan Petrocelli told Judge Alan Haber that Simpson's lawyers were playing games with the court.
He doesn't obey the rules, Your Honor. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Gentlemen, I can't listen to both of you at the same time.
Excuse me, Mr. Baker.
All right, look,
your personal attacks on me will get you nowhere.
Gentlemen.
Simpson, who was scheduled to videotape his deposition next Monday, recently stepped before the camera to tape an infomercial proclaiming his innocence and offering his own perspective of the murder case. Plaintiff's attorneys suggested that Simpson simply doesn't want to face unscripted questions under oath.
You can compel him to appear for his deposition once again on Monday.
As upsetting as this may be to have to reschedule the deposition date, unfortunately, you're just going to have to live with it.
And so, on January 16th, Simpson's lawyers will argue that Goldman's attorney be disqualified. However, with some apparent anticipation of the outcome, the judge has already rescheduled the deposition. We do not know that date, but we understand it will probably take about 5 days. And the judge says that after all of that, the civil trial will still begin as scheduled April 2nd. Reporting live up in the newsroom, Jeff Michael, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, two people.
Wendy, in the civil suit against O.J. Simpson, a wrench was thrown into the proceedings today, delaying Simpson's much-anticipated deposition. I think we all remember in the criminal trial, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman without ever taking the stand. Well, now lawyers for the Goldman family are accusing him of trying to bend the rules yet again. Conan Nolan up in the newsroom now with more on that. Hello, Conan.
Hello, Rick. O.J. Simpson was not in court. He didn't need to be. His attorney scored a victory without him, postponing Simpson's deposition while trying to throw the Goldman family's wrongful death suit into chaos. O.J. Simpson's attorney, Robert Baker, says he became aware of the alleged conflict of interest last month, arguing that it was a matter that needed to be resolved before his client is questioned under oath.
Before that can occur, we definitely need to find out if, in fact, he should be interrogated at all by anyone from the Mitchell, Silverberg, and Knupp firm.
Representing the Goldman family is Daniel Petrocelli of the firm Mitchell, Silberberg & Nuff. Baker believes that prior to taking on the case, Petrocelli's firm represented a corporation with ties to honey-baked hams, in which O.J. Simpson has a financial interest. As a result, Baker says Petrocelli should be required to remove himself from the case.
Mr. Simpson is playing games with the court.
But Petrocelli vigorously claimed no conflict of interest, saying the matter was a ploy to keep O.J. Simpson from testifying. That sparked a verbal battle reminiscent of the criminal trial.
This is yet another example of Mr. Simpson thinking the rules of procedure and of this court and the orders of this court do not apply to him. He doesn't obey the rules, Your Honor. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Gentlemen, I can't listen to both of you at the same time.
Judge Alan Haber agreed to postpone Simpson's deposition, much to the frustration of Ron Goldman's father.
He's so interested in telling his story. How about being a man, do your deposition, get up in court, and testify instead of being a coward?
Now, a hearing on the conflict issue has been scheduled for January 16th. O.J. Simpson's deposition has been rescheduled. Time and place have been sealed by the court for security reasons. Back to you.
A court decision today is delaying proceedings in the wrongful death civil suit against O.J. Simpson. The judge agreed to conduct hearings on whether a lawyer for Ronald Goldman's family has a conflict of interest. That postpones again plans to question Simpson about the deaths of Goldman and Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole. Although Simpson was acquitted of murder, he faces civil claims linked to the deaths.
The jury got the case late today, and Hoskin is facing 10 years if he is convicted. Lots of sparring between attorneys on both sides of the wrongful death suit against O.J. Simpson. Today, the judge delayed Simpson's scheduled deposition. Simpson's attorney accused the Goldman family's attorney of a conflict of interest. And thousands of federal workers in the...
Today, Superior Court Judge Alan Haber rejected O.J. Simpson's argument that he should not have to pay damages in a civil case because he was acquitted in a criminal case. Eyewitness News reporter John North live in Santa Monica with late developments on this story for us. John?
Harold, of course, we're talking about punitive damages, not compensatory damages. And if O.J. Simpson loses his civil case, he could face substantial damages, money that could run into the millions of dollars. It's a setback on a day when Simpson thought he'd finished his deposition. Judge Alan Haber made short work of Simpson's attorneys. A familiar face from the criminal trial argued against any punitive damages in the civil trial.
We believe it is fundamentally unfair to expose a defendant to that risk in terms of the resources that it will take to defend himself against this claim after he has been acquitted by a jury.
Judge Haber said the law is on the side of the victims' families, and he startled reporters when he seemed to suggest there was a defective prosecution in the criminal case.
I really don't think the judge in any way intended to comment about the prior prosecution.
Simpson, meanwhile, is at least temporarily finished with his deposition after 10 days. Attorneys for the victims' families believe they have found many inconsistencies in his statements in areas from his alibi to his relationship with his ex-wife.
After the completion of the liability section of Mr. Simpson's deposition that we have not...
It seems the same failure...
In the O.J. Simpson civil case today in Los Angeles, this was the day that Simpson himself finally wrapped up his deposition. He has testified now for a total of 9½ days, but the judge can always order him back to the table again. Tonight, the lawyers for the Simpsons and the Goldmans said they want more answers. They want another shot at O.J. Simpson. Ted Chen, live in Santa Monica for us tonight with more. Ted?
Paul, after today, one of the attorneys for the plaintiffs said he now has an idea of O.J. Simpson's financial worth. And that's important because here in Santa Monica, a judge kept it possible for O.J. Simpson to lose a lot of money. If O.J. Simpson is relieved his grueling deposition is finally over, that relief may not last long. That's because the attorneys for the plaintiffs in the wrongful death lawsuit against Simpson want him back to answer questions Simpson refused to answer during 10 days of grilling, Simpson citing attorney-client privilege. Among the questions, what about Simpson's promised efforts to find the real killers of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman? And what about apparent contradictions between Simpson's statements and attorney Johnny Cochran's closing argument during the criminal trial? Despite these alleged gaps, the attorneys called the deposition a success.
We have not only met my own expectations, but exceeded those expectations, both with respect to the subject matter of his testimony, coupled with what I believe is his demeanor.
Plaintiff's attorneys said the deposition provided new evidence not obtained at the criminal trial, evidence about Simpson's relationship with his ex-wife, and evidence about Simpson's alibi on the night of the murders. This afternoon, Simpson's legal team lost its battle to have punitive damages in the civil suit thrown out. His lawyers had argued that punitive damages would violate fundamental fairness and would constitute double jeopardy for Simpson. And in rejecting Simpson's motion, Judge Alan Haber said he did not want to set a bad precedent. He said in the future, hypothetically, he didn't want people filing civil suits to possibly pay the price for what he called defective prosecutions. Reporting live from Santa Monica, Ted Chen, Channel 4 News. Paul and Colleen, back to you.
A judge ruled today that O.J. Simpson does not have double jeopardy protection and may have to pay punitive damages if he is found liable in the wrongful death suits against him. Simpson's attorneys had argued that their client should not have to pay in a civil case since he was acquitted of the murders in a criminal case. The judge said the civil suit was a private dispute and does not involve the state. Meantime, after 10 days, Simpson's deposition testimony is over. Although he may be forced to answer more questions he refused to answer during the deposition. Mark?
Well, the fairy tale
At issue is not just what Simpson was doing the night of the murder, but what he's been doing since he was found not guilty. Ann McDermott explains.
Well, we're done. Done questioning O.J. Simpson, at least for now. But the attorneys for the families of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, who are pursuing a wrongful death suit against Simpson, would like to ask him a few more questions. Questions Simpson's lawyer has refused to let him answer.
He was not permitted to answer any questions regarding any efforts to locate the real killer or killers.
Simpson had said he would make such a search in a note read by his son Jason immediately after Simpson was acquitted of murder charges.
I will pursue, as my primary goal in life, the killer or killers who slaughtered Nicole and Mr. Goldman.
Meanwhile, Tuesday evening, Simpson's attorney lashed out at the attorneys on the other side, criticizing them for talking to the media and leaking information. Wednesday morning, camera crews crowded around the attorney for Nicole Brown Simpson's family to get his response.
That Mr. Simpson can go out there and speak for himself. My client, Nicole, Mr. Simpson knows this better than anybody, cannot speak for herself right now. And someone's got to speak out for her.
Later, Simpson's attorneys lost a round in court when they urged a judge to disallow punitive damages in the civil suit, damages that could cost Simpson millions if he loses. The judge refused. Attorneys for the victims' families, meanwhile, say they will ask that the trial, which was to have begun in April, be pushed back 1 or maybe 2 months. Ann McDermott, CNN, Los Angeles.
Simpson. Civil suit by the victims' families did not go as well for Simpson, and he was ordered to pay tens of millions in damages. He lost his house and Heisman, but kept hundreds of thousands in pension funds.
Our family is grateful for a verdict of responsibility, which is all we ever wanted.
Simpson had future legal problems too.